are you doing today? Long time no see. It's been about a month and a half. Things have been insane. I know I've just been horrible. I don't know. This last year I've just been so bad about uploading videos. So if you've abandoned me and unsubscribed, I totally understand. If you're still here with me, thank you so much. I love you and appreciate you. It's just, I don't even know what to say. I've been trying to get it together. Every time I think I've got it together, I don't. Sorry, I'm totally trying to not be all emotional, because I'm not like emotional. I'm not like that type of person. So give me a minute. I read once that if you look up, you can't cry because something in like your eyeballs, it like shuts your tear ducts. So maybe I'll just do this whole video looking up. Okay, I got it together. Okay, I turned my heater on. If you hear this noise, this is like a little space heater. I'm always cold. I'm actually, as you can tell by my voice being like an octave higher, I'm actually just recovering from like a hay fever or something. My dog's growling. Anyway, last week I was feeling like really run down and really tired, and I was like, oh my gosh, why am I so exhausted? And usually if I feel that tired and run down, I'm probably like on the verge of getting sick, right? Like the kids at school just finally give me their crud. So last week I was just feeling like, oh my gosh, what is wrong with me? And I took my temperature and I had like 103-degree temperature, and I was like, oh my gosh, something's, wrong. So I was like, okay, I'm getting hay fever or something. And then I took medicine. I even had to take a day off work. Are you okay? I have the weirdest dog in the world. So anyway, I even had to take a day off work, which I never do. Like, I'm not a sick day taker. And so I actually even took a day off work, and the kids were so cute. They were like, we love you, we miss you, get to feeling better, and so I took like all kinds of cold medicine and stuff for like a day. I slept for like 17 hours. My body just crashed. And I know it's because of stress and how much I've been working lately. But now I actually feel better, but I sound worse because I guess everything's like clearing out or whatever. So like I said, I feel totally fine now, but I sound like bad. It doesn't help that I have to talk for like 8 hours a day at work. But anyway, I think that I just really needed the rest. I think I'm working way too many hours. People think that, teaching is a, oh, you go home at 3 o'clock. Absolutely not. Like, it is insane, and especially this time of year, like the busiest time of the year for a teacher is at the beginning of the school year and towards the end. So we're now in the last 6 weeks of school. We have like big, scary state testing coming up next week. And then I've also been doing, I mentioned this in a previous video, I've also taken on some homebound tutoring. I've really done this just to make some extra money. You guys know last year I went through a breakup in April after 5 years. And so I've never lived alone before. I went from, living with my family, like my parents, and then I lived with my parents actually through college because I paid my way through college. I didn't want to take student loans. My parents are like the most amazing people in the world, so it was totally fine. And so I actually lived with my parents through college, so I wouldn't have to take a student loan, and that was the best decision I've ever made. If you have parents that are willing to let you do that, I totally suggest it, because now I don't have a student loan and most of my friends do. So anyway, and then after that, when I started teaching, I actually moved in with my sister, because we were just two like young teachers starting out, and so me and my sister actually got a place, and then after that I moved in with my ex-boyfriend, and we lived together for like 5 years. And so when we broke up last April, it's been pretty much exactly a year at this point, and he moved out because the house is in my name. I basically lived by myself for the first time ever, and it's been an adjustment. First of all, it's been difficult financially. It hasn't been too bad because you guys know I'm pretty frugal for the most part, and I bought my house well below my means. My house is definitely, a fixer-upper. There's lots of things that I want to repair and replace and update. My house was built in the 70s, and like it looks like it was built in the 70s. Like the tile, I'll have to to show you the tile, but it's like this gold swirly tile. It's totally 70s, but you know, it has character, it has charm, and like I said, I bought below my means. So I totally am able to make all my bills by myself because I made that wise decision. But as a teacher, I actually have 2 master's degrees and like 7 years experience, and I still make like $2,800 a month. That is ridiculous for public school teachers. It's so sad. And the thing is, teachers teach because they love kids and they're passionate about what they do. We most definitely do not do it for the money. So if you think that teachers make a lot of money, $2,800, and I make about $200 more than a lot of other teachers because I have multiple degrees. So that's exactly what I make. There it is. If you want to know what a teacher makes, usually the salaries are posted. It's public information because we're paid, you know, by the state and by your district. And so don't ever think that teachers make a lot of money. And so making $2,800 a month with no husband, no roommate, no boyfriend, you know, no one helping me with the bills, I'm able to make my bills just fine, but it's been an adjustment period. I've had to redo my budget. I've had to learn how to do without things. I've learned how to try to whittle my grocery budget down to almost nothing, where I'm eating at home every single night. Like, I rarely get to eat out somewhere because that's a luxury that I just really can't afford. And so it's different when you have somebody else helping you with the bills, but when it's all me, all by myself with a mortgage and everything, it's taken some time to, and it's taken effort to figure out, how am I going to make this work? Because I don't want to have to depend on somebody. I don't want to rush into a marriage or something like that with someone that isn't right for me just because of financial stability. I would never do that. And so it's been a really rough year just trying to figure that out. I've got it figured out. Like I said, I'm not in debt and I haven't taken any loans and I don't have credit cards racked up at all. But like I said, it's been an adjustment. It's been very educational as far as frugality. I always thought I was a frugal person before, but like I had to improvise and really figure it out. But now I got, there for a while it was like barely getting the bills and having nothing left, and then it got to where I had a little left, and so now after 1 year I've finally gotten a hold of everything to the point where I'm actually able to make all my bills, have some, money to go shop or mill around, and be able to put things in the bank. And it took me forever to get to this point where I'm actually able to save a little bit of money every month. Before I was able, like I said, to make even and not owe anything, not be in debt at the end of the month, but I was not able to save, and that makes me very nervous as a single person, to not have a nest egg. And so now I'm saving stuff. So if you guys would like other videos on how I've done this over the past year, and it's basically just self-discipline. It is saying no to things and doing without things and trying to find boring and creative ways at home to entertain yourself. And because of that, I've become really lame. Like, I've become increasingly isolated over the past year, which has not been good for me. I'm not that type of person, and so I've lost a lot of friends just because I became very isolated, because it's like, oh yeah, I can't go out and do that, I can't go out and do that, I can't go out and do that, I'm just gonna stay at home, I'm just gonna stay at home, I'm just gonna stay at home so I can save some money. And like I said, it's paid off because now I've got the hang of it, we're good, we're clicking on, everything is great, but it was a learning curve, for sure. And so anyway, I'm now doing just fine, but I have a couple of projects, like I said, I'd like to do to my house over the summer when I actually have a little time off. One of those is installing some sliding doors. I want to possibly restain or even buy new cabinets. So I wanted some extra money to just put in like a little house fund, so that maybe this summer I'd have a couple $100s to do something to update the house. And I want to try to do that every summer until I get, everything the way I want it. So anyway, long story short, I've taken on this homebound tutoring, and I'm very invested in these girls. I have 2 girls. They're both high schoolers, and they had children, and so they're struggling to get by. They're teen mothers. They're so beautiful, and it's been very enlightening as a person, and it's been so amazing as an educator to be in the trenches with them. Like, you know, the first time I met with them, I just saw the hopelessness. Just, you know, they were not going to graduate. There was absolutely no way. And so over this last 5 months, we've managed to not only get all of their grades up to A and B's, we've also kind of retrograded. We went back and worked with the teacher. Thank God they were willing to work with us to actually fix their first semester grade. And so now they're going to graduate. And I can't even tell you how invested I am. These are like my daughters, you know, these are my girls, and I'm so proud of them. And so that has taken, it's 4 hours per girl a week, so, and that's all after school. So I spend one entire evening with one entire evening with the other. I have a staff meeting one night, so that's 3 out of my 5 days during the week. And then I usually have some sort of dog thing going on, and so I'm just exhausted, and like I said, my body just crashed. I crashed, and so I'm on the mend, physically and hopefully emotionally. Like I said, I just, you know, I made the Where Have I Been video a couple months ago, but I didn't really get too personal with you guys. I try not to share just a whole lot of personal stuff because, you know, my channel is very lighthearted and I want it to be, but I thought I'd just be more transparent about my inconsistency, I guess, in the last year. I've been on YouTube about 3 years, and I've never had a long hiatus of not posting videos. You can look back at all my videos, and it's consistent. I've never had to take a break, and I've never had to step back. And this year has been the most difficult year of my entire life. So like I said, my first time ever living alone, so I had to kind of financially train myself for how that would actually be possible. Not to mention living alone for the first time takes a toll on you. I like I said, I kind of became kind of isolated. I've kind of become a little bit of a hermit. It's just me and my dog, because, you know, I can trust my dog and she doesn't let me down, and I know that sounds totally stupid because it's an animal, but it is what it is. And so, like I said, because of all of that going on, I kind of isolated through the winter. I kind of just hibernated, and that is not good. If you know anybody grieving, Diet Coke makes everything better. So last April, about a year ago, I ended a relationship I had been in for 5 years. Very difficult. 2 weeks later, as I was just trying to figure out, okay, what in the heck am I gonna do? You know, I'm like grieving the loss of this relationship, someone I thought I was gonna marry, you know, and I'm grieving the loss of this relationship, and 2 weeks later, my grandpa gets sick. And I don't want to sound like a broken record, and I don't want to, I'm totally not wanting sympathy. I have a wonderful family that is the most supportive and amazing family ever. And it was kind of everything all at once. And I know that you guys probably know exactly what I'm talking about. You have those years where it's just like, oh my God, what else is going to happen? 2 weeks later, my grandpa very unexpectedly got sick. I knew he was having trouble breathing. He smoked his whole life, so he had like COPD, and he had a little trouble breathing, but he had like oxygen, and he didn't even use it full time. It was just, you know, like if he'd like overexert himself, he'd, you know, put on the oxygen for a few minutes and then he'd be fine. He wasn't even using it full time. And so very unexpectedly, he had trouble breathing and went to the hospital, and we were like, oh, you know, it's gonna be fine. They intubated him. The tube was out the very next morning. And so we were all like, you know, it was just a spell. You know, most people have several spells before it's the end. But then 2 weeks later, he was gone. And it was just really ironic because I had just lost my support system of 5 years right before I needed a support system. I swear I'm never going to get through this video. Just keep swimming. So anyway, it's like I let go of my support system because, long story short, I have no ill feelings towards him. We were together 5 years, and it was kind of like, okay, are we going to get married or not? It was kind of like, get off the pot. So anyway, it's like I let the support system go, and then 2 weeks later, this completely unexpected thing happens. You know, for the first time in my life, I'm living alone, and I'm grieving alone. And so all of this happened within a month period.